So a lot of people just make things up when it comes to video games and the whammon. Let's say that video games and the whammon. We've covered this a few times before previous shows, but it's this idea. And you've seen it in movies, you've seen it in comic books, where people think that okay, female character exists, and therefore, and let's say if someone expresses a gripe about it, then they don't like that character because they're a woman. That's the claim that they make. Of course, they always leave out that generally when it's a certain character that someone does not like, there's a reason behind it. Often, it is something with their agenda just crammed down people's throats. And you got the Mary Sue problem where a lot of these female characters exist, and because writers don't know what the fuck they're doing, a lot of them are just completely overpowered and without flaws. You have this situation where because it's the women and they feel as if they have to go through storyline after storyline of basically them having to deal with misogyny or some sort of gender oppression in that regard. So it makes for a very predictable narrative. So I saw this and I stumbled across this post right here. Men, I don't want to play as a girl. First of all, I've never heard anybody fucking say that. Deal with it. And what she's showing is a couple of different characters. You have, which was absolutely destroyed. This character was destroyed in the latest Last of Us Part 2. Of course, you got Horizon Zero Dawn. You have some other characters as well. And obviously, with me coming from the Resident Evil being obviously my favorite, you got Claire, Jill, all these guys that, Resident Evil is my favorite gaming franchise ever. And this idea that again they make narratives up. Of course, people mentioned Tomb Raider and all that. We grew up with a PlayStation. You grew up playing Tomb Raider. There's no shortage of female characters that are on my wall, like a comic book characters with Misty, Storm, and Wonder Woman, and all the other characters. Got Supergirl and stuff over there in the other room. I got like Vixen and all of them characters that I know, love, and I'm very familiar with. This is a fucking made up narrative. It doesn't exist. You see, now again, if the game is good and if it has solid gameplay, and again, you're not running into those other issues that we talked about where you use the female character as a means to spread your social or political views. Most guys that play games, which most people that play games are guys. Not saying there aren't female gamers, of course there are, but it's a genre, if you will, or a subculture that is dominated by men. There's nothing wrong with that. But as far as this idea that just men I don't want to play as a girl is like, maybe that applies to something like something that has character creation, but I don't even think it applies there because I play these games and MMOs, and these guys always be creating these fucking female characters. I don't do that shit. If I have the option, I'm gonna create a dude. Usually I create a guy that looks like me. But yeah, like this idea that dudes just refuse or don't want to play as the women. It's just a fucking made up narrative. I named my dog, the little one, the Boston Terrier Wiener Dog mix. Her name's fucking Cammy. You know who Cammy is? Or why I named her after Cammy? She's fucking from Street Fighter, bro. Because she was one of my favorite characters. Playing that game. Favorite characters to use. That's why her name's fucking Cammy. Like, why? Like, who's saying that? Who is saying that? Who is saying that it doesn't exist? See, this is the thing, and we've seen this with some of these kind of corny movements of people trying to act as if there's like this misogyny that exists in video game culture, right? And they want that to be true so bad. They want it to be true so bad. They do. They just like have to be oppressed. They have to be discriminated against. They absolutely have to be. So they will reach, and when I say reach, we're talking Street Fighter, Dazlum level reaching. Like, that's what we're talking about. Because it's just made up. It doesn't exist. Or rather, if it does, it's to a very small, insignificant degree. It does not exist. I don't know why these weirdos want this shit to be true so bad. I have never, and I've been a gamer my entire life. That's like all I know. Started Sega Genesis as a youngster, and that's all I know. And to sit here, I've never, ever heard someone use that. I don't want to play. I've never heard a guy say that. I've never, ever, ever heard a guy. Now, you could say that's anecdotal, but I'm pretty sure, and I'm very confident in the fact that a lot of guys would say the same thing. That I've never heard anybody say that, but you may want it to be true. I mean, there's been female protagonists. I mean, fucking Samus. Like, there's been female protagonists in these games. Tomb Raider probably being the biggest one, the one that hits closest home to me, because that I went from the Sega Genesis to the PlayStation 1, and Tomb Raider was a big part of my experience growing up playing that game. And it's like, I've never heard anybody say anything like that. And this is not to mention, again, the numerous amounts of fighting games where people kick ass with female characters and prefer to use those female characters. I just brought up Cammy, Chun-Li, you know what I'm saying? Sindel for Mortal Kombat used to fuck people up, bro, with these characters from from these female characters from some of these other games. Hell, who is my main on? How did I forget? Who's my main on Injustice? I'm not even gonna say anything. We're just gonna read the chat because people are seeing me stream this game. Who's my main on Injustice? Who do I play with basically exclusively on Injustice? It's not a dude. It's not a dude. So who the fuck is saying this, man? That's what they're saying. Supergirl, Power Girl. Exactly. That's my main. That has been my main. That has been my main on that game. I've never heard anybody say that, man. Who is saying this? Folks don't have an issue with female characters. The thing that we have an issue with is when you feel like you have to use that character to beat someone over the head with gender bullshit. Like, that's the problem. Just let the female character be a female character and be fucking great. That's all we ask. It ain't got nothing to do with people. I don't want to play as a girl. And you got these weird like female content creators and shit who want to be oppressed so bad that they think motherfuckers just going around saying shit like that. Ain't nobody saying nothing like that. You made that up. You made it up. But that's what they have to do. Make stuff up. A narrative that they conjure, that they've pulled right out of their rectum. And then they argue against that as if it's a real thing. These guys are stupid.